Hi everyone, my name's Jordan Schneider, and in the 8 short weeks that we've had together, I've learned several public speaking skills. Being a senior, I've already given my fair share of presentations throughout college and have done pretty well in public speaking forums. However, this class really helped me to master some techniques and greatly improve on some other public speaking skills. The areas of speaking this course helped me in were speaking and delivery skills, audience-centered speaking techniques, effective listening skills, and development of ideas with proper organization and support. So with speaking and delivery skills, before this class started, I thought I had some strengths already when it came to public speaking, including rate, volume, organization of content, and visual aids. Some of the weaknesses that I had before this class were controlling nervousness before a speech, talking in a conversational tone, and using gestures. And those were some things that I hope to improve on. So when I was giving my speeches, I started controlling nervousness, and this was evident in my first speech, my informative speech. Before I went to give my speech, I got really nervous and my heart rate started to spike, but I just took a couple deep breaths and my heart rate returned to normal really quickly, and I ended up using this strategy before every one of my speeches. Next was gestures, and I wouldn't say there was specific improvement in one of my speeches, but gradually from each speech to the next, I saw improvement as I went through my speeches. And then lastly, conversational tone. This was kind of hard in some of my earlier speeches, but as I got to my toast, I really felt like I was talking to a group of close family members and close friends in the room. So after taking this course, my most confident skill that I have in speaking is gathering and organizing information. And a way that I can use this skill in future courses is that a lot of times for biology courses, I have to do primary research and I have to organize information really well, especially in methods sections of research, papers, and presentations. So this skill will really be helpful. The second skill that I improved upon was audience-centered speaking. So this really altered my preparation for some of my speeches because I had to make sure I picked a topic that my audience found important and wanted to listen to. So like with my persuasive speech, I picked a topic that I was less interested in because my audience was more interested in it than the topic that I had wanted to speak on. And before this class, that was something that I never would have done or thought of before. I just would have spoken on the topic that I thought was interesting. So this required me to do more research, and it required me to put more time into my preparation. So another thing that I learned in audience-centered speaking is that you need to have an attention-grabbing introduction and a memorable conclusion. And these are the most two important parts of your speech because you want the audience you want to capture their attention in the beginning, and then you want to be memorable at the end of your speech. So before this class, I would say that there are some things that I thought about before when it came to audience-centered speaking, but there were also some other techniques that I hadn't thought about. My biggest challenge was finding info that the audience wanted to hear. So even if it wasn't something that I wanted to speak on, like my persuasive speech, I still had to come off to my audience as credible, knowledgeable, and I had to make them act on what I wanted them to act on. So in the future, I may have to give presentations at work on things that my boss assigns, and there's something that I'm not really passionate about, but I'll still have to convince a group of people to feel a certain way. And this is where I can apply this in future jobs. So a third thing that this class helped me with was effective listening skills. So sometimes where this was hard was during the informative speech, because during that night we had almost over 2 hours of speech presentations, and it was just a lot of information at once, and it became hard to concentrate towards the end. So what I started to do to combat my wandering mind was I recognized that my mind was going off to other places. I cleared my mind, I sat up straighter, and then I focused on the speaker and their message. So another time that I used effective listening skills was during the persuasive speeches, because during those speeches we had to ask questions. So I really had to listen to the speaker, analyze what they were saying to then be able to ask questions about their speech. In the future, times that we can use this would be when we're listening to politicians. We really need to use effective listening so that we can analyze their message and then make a decision on whether we believe what they're saying is correct or not. So according to Beebe and Beebe, co-authors of the Public Speaking Handbook, there are 5 stages of effective listening that we can use to help us listen effectively. The first one is to select a sound, so that would be the speaker's voice. The second one is to attend that sound, so to truly listen to it. The third one is to understand, so summarizing information while the speaker is talking. The fourth one is to remember, and the fifth one is to respond to what you're listening to. So some skills in the future that I'm going to use when I need to listen effectively are listening with my eyes, acknowledging distractions and trying to put those aside, summarizing periodically what the speaker has said so I can remember that information, and then watching for nonverbal cues because that almost says more than what verbal cues say. So the last area of speaking that this course helped me with was developing ideas with support and organizing that support within my speech. So this was a strength that I had before this class, but this class really helped me to perfect this skill and to get even better at this skill so that I could do it really quickly when I was writing my papers. Like in my persuasive and my informative speeches, I had to do a lot of research on those topics, find good support, and then I had to organize it well in my speech, which I did all of that, and I ended up having successful speeches. So overall, this area just helped me to perfect my organization, and overall it helped me become faster at organizing my speeches. So in conclusion, this course helped me to improve my public speaking skills. It taught me how to tweak some of my public speaking skills that I had before to make them more effective. And it opened my eyes to audience-centered speaking and all the parts that should be included to be a great audience-centered speaker. It taught me how to listen effectively, and lastly, it taught me to hone in on my skills of gathering good supporting information and organizing it within my speech. So now that I have taken this course, I have become a better public speaker, a more confident public speaker, and I could see my progress and improvements every time I gave a speech this past semester. Thank you.